In this video, we will solve a question on Leontief utility function. The question is, suppose utility of a consumer is given as utility is equal to minimum of x1 comma x2 upon 3, where x1 and x2 are the two goods and u denotes the utility derived from the consumption of these goods. The consumer buys 30 units of good x2. What is the consumer's income if price of good x2 is $4 and price of good x1 is $2? Okay. So we have the utility function, that is utility derived by consuming x1 and x2 is being given by minimum of x1 comma x2 upon 3. Okay, so let us first understand what is this utility function. So utility derived is equal to minimum of whatever is in the brackets x1 comma x2 upon 3. x1 and x2 denotes the units of good x1 and x2. Now this utility function, we call it the Leontief utility function, or we call it perfect complementary utility function, or we call it the fixed proportion utility function. So let me explain with a simple example. Let us say we have a normal consumer. He goes to a shop. By normal consumer, I am saying who is not specially able, who has two legs. Okay, perfectly a healthy person. He goes to a shop, so he wants to buy a pair of shoes. Okay, so he will choose left shoe and right shoe. Okay, so and let us suppose he chooses L and R. These are the pair of right and left shoe. A pair of shoe with left and right shoe in it. So let us suppose he gets a utility of 10 from this very thing by purchasing. Now if this person tells the shop, give me 2 left shoe and 1 right shoe, okay, what utility he will get? He will get only 10 again, because this extra left shoe will not serve him anything. Okay, by the same likewise we can say, if he chooses only 1 left shoe and 2 right shoe, again his utility will be same. Let us suppose we get this arbitrary number here, 10 units. Now if he chooses 2 left shoe and 2 right shoe, here his utility will increase. Let us suppose it goes to 20. So what we are visualizing here, consumer will choose a certain goods in a fixed proportion, okay, in some fixed proportion. That means 1 left shoe and 1 right shoe, if it gives him a utility of 10. If we double left shoe and right shoe, let us say 2L and 2R, then only his utility will increase. Let us suppose 20. Only increasing 1 unit without increasing the other unit will not increase the utility of the consumer. That is the essence of the Leontief utility function, where the consumer consumes goods in a fixed proportion. Changing the proportion will not help in increasing its utility or her utility. English gaya tel lene. Having said that, so this is our main function, Leontief utility function. We are also being told the price of good X is X1 is $2, price of good X2 is $4, and income of the consumer is, we need to find out. And we are also being told consumer consumes 30 units of good X2. So let us say X2 star is 30. Given this information, we need to find out the expenditure or income of the consumer. Now what will we do? We put x2 is equal to 30 into the main function. Okay, so when we plug it, so utility of the consumer will be equal to minimum of x1 comma x2 is 30 divided by 3, which is equal to minimum of x1 comma 30 upon 3 is 10. Okay, so u is equal to min of x1 comma 10. So how do we find out the equilibrium level of x1 for this consumer. So what we do when we have the min function, we equate whatever is in the parenthesis. That means x1 will be equal to 10. That means consumer will consume 10 units of good x1. Then his utility will be maximum. Okay, and let me explain it here. As long as x1 is greater or equal to 10, consumer's utility will be maximized. Okay, so if x1 is equal to 10, so what will be the consumer's utility? So utility will be equal to minimum of x1 is 10, you go bracket 10 divided by x2 upon 3, x2 upon 3 30 upon 3, which is 10. Here you can see, so utility will be equal to 10. Let us suppose x1 is greater than 10, let us suppose 11. So in this case utility will be equal to minimum of, so here we have 11 and x2 comes out to be 30 upon 3, which is 10. Here we also get the same utility. If we decrease x1 to 8, let us suppose, utility will be equal to minimum of, in place of x1 we have 8 and this is here 10. Here you can see, and the lesser of the two is 8, so consumer's utility will decrease. So he will increase his utility only if he consumes x1 equal to 10 or greater than 10. But at optimum he will choose 10 units of good x1. Okay. Having said that, now what will be the total expenditure of the consumer? We know that consumer will maximize his utility. U is equal to min of x1 comma x2 upon 3. We know that, subject to the constant. What is the constant he is facing? That is price of good 1 times units of good 1 plus price of good 2 times units of good 2 should be equal to the income of the consumer. Price of good 1 is being given as 2, so we have 2 times, at equilibrium he consumes 10 units of good x1 plus price of good 2 is 4, and at equilibrium we know he consumes 30 upon 3, which is 10 here. Okay, which will be equal to m. So 2 tens are 20 plus 4 tens are 40 is equal to m. That means Sajid share. So consumer's total income will be equal to $60 if he consumes the goods in the given proportion. Okay, I hope I make myself clear in this video and you find out this video helpful. Thank you.